Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Join Tom Mealy and Tommy Marr right here on Cablevision Channel 20 each week for an interesting episode of The Long Island View.
I am Tommy Marr,
otherwise known as the Maverick Soul,
and I am live in the Madhouse
for my show, Maverick Soul Hour.
Come and join us. It's the place to be.
Right here on Madhouse TV, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we will put you out to the entire world.
You got that right.
Finally, the time has come. You no longer have to choose between conventional medicine and alternative medicine. Today, unlike years past, your team of doctors from all disciplines are working together side by side for the benefit of you, the patient, to help you regain your health and cross the bridge.
Hi, I'm Tom Mealy from Madhouse TV, and when I'm not at the studio, I'm here at the Harrison Law Group. This is my real job. Brett and I are putting together a show called Legal Straight Talk. It'll be aired on Cablevision as well as here at Madhouse TV. You need to tune in. This information that we're going to be giving the public is the real deal. It's all about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So tune in this January 2015 for a new episode of Legal Straight Talk.
Why are you playing with your toys?
I watching Madhouse TV.
You're watching MadhouseTV.com
With Connie and Chrissy on Date Night.
Humbug. Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Welcome to tonight's edition of The Filmmaker Show. With me, Michelle Parisi, and
Hello.
Did I give you enough time to say
I'm just saying hi. I never can get a word in edgewise.
I'm so sorry. I realize my wife is now in a new club called Wives of Narcissists, started by Vicky. I love it. It's a good club. And I should have given you the camera to say hello. So when we start that again, hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Who are you?
And I'm Michelle Parisi.
Look at that. Now we got that straight, and we have our two amazing guests.
That's true.
They're like fixtures here. But before we begin with our guests, which I'm so proud, this is an hour-long show. So if you're watching it on Channel 20, you got to watch the last part the week later. Okay, that's the way it works. But you Madhouse viewers, stick around, babies. This is going to be an educating night. Dr. Dow. He made it to prime time on Channel 20. My fourth show that I'm producing for them, amazingly as it is.
Why don't you tell them what it's called?
It's called The Bridge to Health. And, you know, I'm amazed that that show just started through Madhouse TV. And, of course, we produce it for the Channel 20 part of this world.
And it propelled itself straight to prime time.
Right to
TV.
prime time. Holy smoke. Even the filmmakers didn't go that far. And I'm better looking. Well, maybe not. You know who's really good looking? The murderer in Lullaby, Richard Castellano. And I had some great fortune to work with James R. Corey. And of course, when you get James R. Corey, you get Lauren Levine, the producer and the brains. And like you're the brains behind my outfit, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just here like for good looks. So without any further ado, shall we introduce him? Why don't you do that for me?
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, producer Lauren Levine and director James R. Corey.
Nice to be back.
You know what? You might as well just get a cot and sleep here at this.
Or how about I open up a studio next door?
Maybe open up
There
a
you
studio
go.
next door. You know what's really...
Then you wouldn't have to contend with all the traffic you were just in.
Right?
I have a question for you, Lauren. Do you belong in one of those chapters of Wives of Narcissists too, or no?
My cover is blown.
Her cover is blown. No, that can't be right. He's a lovely man.
He is.
He's very good.
Well, you're a lovely man too, but you're kind of like narcissistic.
Well, it's not that I'm narcissistic. I wear purple shoes that match my purple tie and green shirt.
Okay.
What? So what does that got to do with anything?
I wanted to ask you
It
about
really
that.
doesn't.
It looks good.
You know what? Tom Mealy loves my purple shoes. No, he doesn't.
Nice.
It's hysterical because I always started wearing these different color shoes on the show. And the sneakers I have are like neon and red and all this good stuff that any 20-year-old like me would buy. Please note, I am over 20, but not much. Anyway, the reality is we're talking about you, not me. And even though our show just made it to prime time, which I'm very excited.
Congratulations.
Thank you for Dr. Dow and his new girl, Jacqueline D. Simone. Everybody remembers Jackie when she worked with me on Here's to Us. She played my girlfriend on the show. It's amazing. And Here's to Us is up to grabs now, finally. So, but the point is she's on the show, Bridge to Health. I'm very proud of her. And how do you feel about all this?
I think it's all fantastic.
Well, I don't see you jumping up and down and raising...
I can't get a word in edgewise. I told you that already.
All right, let's get words in for the real people who are on our show. And James, I looked at today the trailer for Lullaby, and I was astounded. Very good. I actually wish I had seen it and got a better reference, but Richard Castellano is amazing.
Oh, it's a great trailer, isn't it?
It's a very good trailer.
It's a extended trailer.
I saw.
Yeah, usually a motion picture trailer is 1 minute, but that 1 minute is for your old way thinking advertising, you know, with that 1 minute slot, you know that. And they like to give it a little extended version. That's what we did. A buyer's reel would be like between 5 and 7 minutes to give you a whole, you know,
a whole synopsis
of the picture itself. Yeah, because that happened in the buyer's markets like American Film Market and Cannes. If you're a buyer, because I was in distribution back then, which we're going to get into. I'll tell you about some.
Yeah,
of the
that's
news.
important today.
And they don't have time to look at a whole movie, so they want to see 5 minutes or 7 minutes of it back in the hotel room. Then they want to go party, whatever. So a buyer's going to come back with the pro forma on the picture and then a reel. They'll look at it, well, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, and then they'll make their connections and buys.
That's awesome, and that's usually done at the big conferences. What about the one in Florida? Carl Sabatino, a very good friend of all of ours,
Yes.
he's told me that really the deals are made before Florida.
Yeah.
Is that true?
They are. A lot of distribution deals, if they like the motion picture, they will make a deal with you, and then they will feel it out into the festivals.
I see.
And they could adjust their distribution with audience reactions in certain festivals. And then they will market it in certain areas. For instance, you're not going to put a Shakespeare movie out in a low-income neighborhood where they're battling each other. They're not interested in that. You know, like that new hip-hop movie that's out. What's the name of it?
I don't know.
It did well. That, what they released that in a checkerboard type of pattern. They have to be very selective with the areas.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the whole model has changed. So Lullaby, getting back to Lullaby, is a very good fit for a lot of markets. So we hope we'll, you know, get
Beautiful, beautiful.
I'm glad you liked the trailer.
I did. I'm just proud to be associated with you, and that's the truth. Your sensitivity, really good. And I got to say this, I told this to Michelle the other day, so take this as an amazing compliment. You're the best acting teacher I ever worked with. You're not even an acting teacher. You really get it out of people to work good.
Well, you have to feel it, and Lauren does too. We were just,
I bet, yeah.
We were doing the garden over the weekend. We were shooting with these kids. They're amazing. They cast the kids for the garden. We come back next show, we'll show you all the kids and everything. Lauren also brought the emotion out of the kids. She casted the kids, which were incredible. She has a great eye for casting.
Sure.
Yeah. And all the years I have experience behind the camera, I started out editing. So
Right.
in an edit room, you have to figure out, what do I need?
Yep.
What pieces do I have to cover myself? And you get a one shot, that's it. One shot with that camera, that's how I was trained. So the acting on all different levels. So I started in theater, and then I made my transition to film. So, I've been around a long time, seen a lot of good performers.
When you said that you edited, how much footage did you take to edit for the, how many minutes did you say that
The trailer?
was?
Well, here's how it works. We've shot, oh my God, we have, what would you say we have, like 30 hours
at least.
of lullaby.
Wow.
Yeah, about because it's digital, which I love the look of digital. Film I do like better, but film costs more money. So we accumulated many takes. So from that, you have to just sit and what they call reel down your, your good takes, what looks good, a certain reaction. For instance, when Oriana turned her head, that's one of the stars of the film, Oriana D'Agostino.
I loved her.
A quick turn. Yeah, you saw it in the end. And, I had to reel through about 60 different shots just to get that one reaction. And when I'm shooting, I perceive everything that way. As a director, like I know what I want from you, and I'll intently work with you on that, on that one moment or that one block, like we did the other night with you. I made you just concentrate on that block.
That's true.
Give me that block.
And that's why I said you were like the best acting teacher I've had.
Thank you.
And I want to turn my focus to Lauren for a moment, and we will talk about the Garden of Thorns. I guess what we'll do is work this part of the show towards Lullaby, and then the next one, Garden of Thorns. Lauren, when you cast, this is like a tough thing for a lot of actors to understand. Why do you cast the way you cast? What is it that you look for that actors don't understand, like when they say, gee, I thought I had the part, they loved me, I signed this, suddenly I'm out, I didn't even know what I did.
I like to see people, especially young people, that can identify the emotion that we want to bring out in the character. If a young person, for example, has never been in love before, it's very difficult for them to be the protagonist in a drama that's basically a love story. Or if somebody's had a lot of wonderful good luck in their life, it's hard for them to do something that's got a tragic undertone.
Sure.
So sometimes you can have a person that physically looks like, wow, they're going to be perfect for the part, but if they really can't identify, especially in a younger actor, it's tough. And we want to make sure that they're not acting, they're becoming the character.
Agreed. And that equals the chemistry between the different people working through.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can't throw an actor if casting is 50% of your film.
Sure.
If you look the part, we're hoping you can act the part.
That's
so yeah.
So it would be a good idea when people are trying to get roles in films to go for the ones where they can relate to the character.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just have to keep knocking on that door, and you have to think about, as an actor, how do I fit? And you have to, if you're going to audition, you have to become that part totally.
And you have to really draw on experience.
You know, it's as Steve Martin once said, he said, how do you make it in the business? He says, cocktail parties don't help, networking doesn't help, especially today. What helps? Be your best, so people will see you at your best, and they will hire you.
That's important. And then there's also the art direction. Let's say a girl with red hair at 5'4" looks beautiful, and they cast everybody around her, and then the new lead walks in, is only 5'3", you know what's going to happen. They're going to change her out without telling her, I'm sorry, it's just not going to, we'll buy you out, and now they're going to recast because they're all on a smaller scale. Or for whatever the reason, the art direction is very important. They generally don't want to have too many blondes. They'll mix it up with different color hair. Am I right or wrong on that end?
Well, in the old days of Alan Ladd, they made him act on milk cartons, you know, because he was so short, with the leading women were tall. But yes, certain things, that's why they do a lot of screen tests. They'll take the screen test first and then match you up before anything happens. They'll do a screen test for your acting. They'll do a screen test for your wardrobe, and then they'll do a screen test with with a lead and a lead together. If that doesn't work out, they know right from the beginning.
Right.
So people have to realize that it may have nothing to do with them. It's just that their
It's the
height,
fit.
their height,
It's
their
the
hair
fit
color
of the movie.
Right.
It's the fit of the movie. It's the fit of the script, and that's the most important thing. On many films, the best team is of course your director, your cameraman, and your art director.
Oh, that's very
Okay,
important.
So those three guys are the most important.
Sure.
And then everything fits in after that. Because the art director, the director, and the cameraman have to know, I'm going to design a set this way. We need lighting this way. The camera is going to move here. This is the look I want. So those three will confer on every movie. And all your good movies have that. And they've been doing it since day one like that.
Sure, and that only makes
A lot of
sense.
people don't realize that. That
Makes
makes a lot of sense.
For actors, it's interesting. I've gone to many acting schools in my life. Right now, I currently go to John Pilata, a good friend of mine, nice guy. But in my past, I've gone to HB and Stellar and all these other people. All right. I remember, and I can equate this to the advertising world, when you need to know a part, you really got to get behind that part to make that work. The same as I would take a product, use the product, understand the product, what's the pitfalls, what's the best thing, the most salient point, really get to know the product before I put together one design on one concept. So the same being with an actor. They've got to really know. So if you're like going to play a policeman, it behooves you to go down to precincts, hang out with the cop, see where they go, get that feel.
Even more so than that. Here's a trick. Yes, you're right. Take a character, two characters. Okay, we're two actors. We're going to do a scene. We're going to go in a coffee shop, an ice cream shop, right? You like chocolate. I like vanilla ice cream. Okay? Now, when you walk in as an actor or as a person, when you walk into that coffee shop or ice cream shop and you're looking at the sign and you're saying, oh, you're reading the flavors, right? The flavor that you like, it's going to show on your face.
Sure. Like
strawberry. I love strawberries. Oh, my God, strawberry. So if you don't like it, if you don't know that emotion as an actor, it'll never come on your face.
Sure.
So as a director, I have to tell you the whole background as an actor. I have to tell you the do's, the don'ts, the dislikes, the likes, okay? Because you may, if it comes up. Now, another actor should know that too. So two actors should know all the faults, just like brothers or sisters.
That's the chemistry.
Yes, that's the chemistry. And I could throw up to you in an acting scene. I could say, hey, Jerry, you want vanilla ice cream? You go, oh, my God, I want vanilla. I want chocolate. So I got a real reaction
But I'll try the vanilla if you want.
You understand. So that's very important as an actor to understand that range of emotion. And a good actor just broadens it and broadens it.
That's right.
He gets so involved in that emotion. He just deletes like a hard drive. He walks in with a blank disc in his head, and he absorbs everything for that character. Now, another thing, you remember when, like even when we worked with Ed Asner, for instance. Ed Asner, fantastic actor. When he's in a character, oh my God, you feel the character. Or even Tony LoBianco, who's our dear friend. He's that character. As soon as he walks off stage, it's Tony or Ed. And you see a day-night.
Sure. Now, let me ask you this, Lauren. In Lullaby, the emotion there is anger and hate. In Lullaby, he's a killer. Yeah. And that's got to come through, that anger. That's got to come through. And the same as love. The two hardest things to pull off that I would imagine is being really in love with somebody, especially when you're going to caress them or anything else, or when you hate them. Am I right or wrong?
True. Lauren, I just want to tell him one thing, and then you jump in. Lauren, we had a problem with Richie because he couldn't get a certain thing. Mr. Richie Castellano doing Lullaby.
Okay.
And Lauren says, let me go over the lines with him. So take it from there at the train station.
I had a very special relationship with Richie Castellano. I have no idea why. He liked me very much, and it was like we were sister and brother.
Yeah.
And I would work with him apart from the rest of the cast. And he would try it different ways. And he would always find his, you know, comfortable thing, and it would be in one take as soon as he would find that comfort zone. And one night at the train station, he had to play both characters back and forth, and it was amazing. Now, we're not talking about the edited piece. We're talking about that I actually watched him get in and out of both of those characters.
Yeah, the raw footage.
Stand on one side of the street as this character, stand on the other side of the street, and they were nothing alike.
Wow.
So when we actually went in to edit that, it was very difficult because you didn't know what part to cut out. They
Yeah,
were
it was
all
good. Boy.
good.
And not only that, remember we were referring to the eye contact.
That was
the eye
terrific.
contact of the two brothers were very important, because if your eye contact was off, the whole scene was not right. You know, so the eye
He
contact.
looked at me in that scene because I was on the mark of the other brother.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and played the soft-spoken brother. And then he played the evil one. And if I didn't know that this was, you know, an acting set, you would feel a very strong chill. And what was really amazing, it was warm out. And then suddenly it was getting very cool that night. The weather was changing. And he was wearing the famous hoodie sweatshirt. And I needed it. He had taken it off to play the other character. I needed it. I actually felt that really big chill. And I thought it was freezing. And then I realized that wasn't it at all. He really spooked me. And when he became the other character, it was fine again. I took the sweatshirt off. It was just amazing.
Yeah, he was.
So you have to be ready to switch gears when you're on set and take direction well from the people who are orchestrating the whole thing.
Yeah, that was some night that night. It was a great shoot that night.
I think that was one of the best shoots for any film that I've ever been on, and one of the best nights that Richie acted.
Wow.
Yeah, he was good in that night.
That's
he was right
amazing.
on. He was
That's
right
amazing. How did you find Richie Castellano?
Oh, I met Richie. Oh my God, I met Richie through my younger sister. My younger sister wanted to manage Richie at the time, and that's how I met Richie. And she called me up and says, Jim, do you want to make $1,000 a day as a cameraman? I said, sure, why not? So I went down, and that's how I met Richie.
That's pretty impressive.
He was doing something, and I shot something for him, and from there we hit it off. And we developed a lot of property for him to roll one in the other. We did a few pitches with him, and we did Ghost of Overlook Mountain, of course, Lullaby, Intermezzo. What else did we do? One other one. Oh, Coney Island. Yeah. So those pictures, after Lullaby, we were going to just roll into the features because they all look great.
Nice.
And
I had a project that I wanted to do with Richie, unfortunately passed away.
And we wrote the script, too, from it.
That was called A Street Made Man. And in getting to know Richie very well and finding out this is a guy that really did come from the streets and turn his life around, become an actor, he was very able to confide in me for this relationship that we had and tell me things that I'm sure he did not tell everyone. And as we were writing this, I said, this is an amazing story. Really has to be done. I hope we can figure out a way to do that.
And what Lauren lined up for at the time last year, we lined up a series of events that we were going to go into. For instance, we booked Robert De Niro's Tribeca at 375, the big screening room, and Richie was going to get on stage. Lauren was going to ask him questions. We were going to tape it and then show some of the films that were involved in
Nice.
it. And then we were going to like a little circuit, and the bookings started to come in, and then the winter came, and then before you know it, the man just passed away.
So sad.
Wow.
And speaking of sad, our first show's up. But we'll be right back if you're watching Madhouse TV Live with James R. Corey and Lauren Levine and Michelle Parisi and me. So stick around for Madhouse TV. If you happen to be watching us on Channel 20 and this broadcast is coming through, we'll see you next week. And I urge you to tune in because the next show is all about A Garden of Thorns, an amazing movie that's being done with amazing raising eyebrows, an amazing amount of audience looking at it already, and it's got people talking, and it's not even done yet. So I want to just say thanks to the people who make our show happen, like Michelle Parisi, Cheryl Dobsons. I want to say to my buddy Tom Mealy, Vicky Mealy, Tommy Marr, he's iconic, and of course Janine Zarelli. Thank you for your help. Without them, this show would not be on the air tonight. We'll see you next week or a little later on.
Good night.
Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Join Tom Mealy and Tommy Marr right here on Cablevision Channel 20 each week for an interesting episode of Long Island View.
I am Tommy Marr,
Otherwise known as the Maverick Soul.
and I am live in the Madhouse.
For my show, Maverick Soul Hour.
Come and join us. It's the place to be.
Right here on Madhouse TV, Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we will put you out to the entire world.
You got that right.
Finally, the time has come. You no longer have to choose between conventional medicine and alternative medicine. Today, unlike years past, your team of doctors from all disciplines are working together side by side for the benefit of you, the patient, to help you regain your health and cross the bridge.
Hi, I'm Tom Mealy from Madhousetv, and when I'm not at the studio, I'm here at the Harrison Law Group. This is my real job. Brett and I are putting together a show called Legal Straight Talk. It'll be aired on Cablevision as well as here at Madhousetv. You need to tune in. This information that we're going to be giving the public is the real deal. It's all about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So tune in this January 2015 for a new episode of Legal Straight Talk.
Why are you playing with your toys?
I watching Madhouse TV.
You're watching Madhousetv.com.
With Connie and Chrissy on Date Night.
Humbug. Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi, and welcome to this portion of the Filmmaker Show. If you're watching Madhouse TV, you know that our guests are James Arcori and Lauren Levine. You know I have Michelle Parisi here with me. I wanted to mention that not only has Dr. Dow got to prime time here on Channel 20 as well, which I'm very, very proud of him, but we, collectively, the Scrooge Group, and you'll be hearing about that as it always every year we do, have now got our first brand new town, that's the town of Sayville, to hold a Dickens Festival similar to what we did in another town. Of course, this time we're running it. We're really excited to be part of them. Also, a lot of new things along those lines are coming out this year, so stay tuned. You'll be seeing some interesting things. But tonight, A Garden of Thorns, and I love the name of that movie. It is, to me, one of the most different, yet right to the point names of a movie anybody could have. And
now,
with me...
We've been... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say we've been following James and Lauren for some time now, and we even met Roger, who the story is made and crafted after, and I'm excited to hear about the updates because we've been following this very closely.
So let's reintroduce director James Arcori and producer Lauren Levine of A Garden of Thorns. And welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. Thank you.
Now, The Garden of Thorns, as Michelle had mentioned, is Roger's life story. This gentleman, this little boy from Dijon who grew up and he became a hero without even realizing he did what he did. So taking it from there, you had the issue of casting all these beautiful children.
I did.
How did that work out?
You know, I do believe that once in a while you get a little help from the man upstairs to help you make a film. Because initially, I was actually looking for a boy who would play the young Roger, who looked very much like another young boy we used as Roger a little bit older in France.
Oh.
And we were lucky enough to not only find somebody that had some similarity, but who actually looks like Roger. And
wow.
This boy's name is Austin Levine. Now, Austin is an unbelievable actor. He has actually been Michael Banks in Mary Poppins on Broadway for 17 performances.
Wow.
And he is absolutely awesome. He has chemistry with everyone he's on set with.
He's fabulous.
And he's great to work with.
And how old is he?
He is 11.
11.
He's a little small for his age, so he looks like, 9, 10.
Okay.
But he is a powerhouse.
It fits the character of Roger when he was young. Perfect.
Has Roger met him?
Not yet. Roger we're going to bring to the set. We still have a lot of shooting. We're going to bring him to the set one day, and he'll meet all the kids.
That would be an incredible
They're all
experience
looking
for
forward
him.
to see him.
He did see him, though. He saw a picture, and
Pictures in
he
the book
noted
and
that he does look an awful lot like him when he was a boy. But the really great thing about casting this was when I did it, the mothers would call me and say that they had children that could play these different roles. And, you're like, yeah, sure, until you actually see these kids, and it kind of hits you right in the face who they can play. Their personalities were absolutely awesome.
Wow.
And we have another little boy whose name is Nick Gazes. And Nick's done a little bit of acting. He's been in a couple of things. His brother Max is also in this. And it was an unusual thing because I believe that the mom thought that the younger boy, Max, was going to play the Joe A. Eisenberg character. But when I met them, Nick, the older boy, who is a very soft-spoken young man, it really grabbed me right away. This is Joey Eisenberg. And when we shot with both Austin and Nick over the weekend, they brought those two characters to life that I was so happy.
I was amazed.
Fabulous.
I was amazed. As a director, I was amazed. Both kids.
Wow.
They were
So
that good.
You've been involved way back from interviewing Roger over a long period of time.
Yes.
You've been involved from day one when we optioned the book.
Right. And you must have had ideas in your head about who could play this part. So it's amazing to see this now coming to life.
Well, I have a very, strong emotional attachment to the subject matter, but I also have a strong emotional attachment to the actual idea that these children will teach a lesson to us all by bringing it to life. Because it's one thing to tell the story and interview people who were there, but unfortunately we're now seeing them as old. Remember that when this happened 70-plus years ago, they were all children. So having the children come in, they're actually, bringing it to life. And what was so fabulous is every single one of them was able to understand that it starts out with the bullying and the scapegoatism, and it went all the way into the Holocaust, and they get it.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. The kids got it. In script, they got it. They got the tonation, they got the look, they got the feeling. I was amazed.
Is this going to be marketed through school districts?
No,
towards...
not like that, no. It's going to be, we have enough footage to do a 6-part miniseries.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're looking to high-end, like a PBS slot or a Bravo or somebody, a Netflix, something like that, to really get it out. It's nothing that, it'll play at school eventually. It'll wind up in the educational circuit, libraries and whatever. But now it's a high-end project.
Sure. But what I do want to do with schools, if I may, is I'd like to have this as a program brought into the schools, because I think that children do relate to other children, and it's an important lesson to learn. And I think that they don't necessarily address some of these issues in certain areas the way they should. So I think with all bullying and all of these different programs that they have, that this really will make it more poignant, not only for the adults, but I think it will help teach it better as well.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes.
And yet, the goal, as big as it is, it's important to go after that goal. That's incredible. And you told me, James, many times, which is some of the most horrible things, and I picture these things of some of the footage that you saw back then that you're privy to. That had to be horrible viewing.
Well, to put it mildly, the Nazis were the worst people ever created, I think. They're just horrible. You have ISIS, they learned from the Nazis. That, And don't forget, they didn't have internet then. Their communications were not like today.
Right.
And what they did, some of the atrocities and everything against humanity, oh, forget about it. You have no
How could
idea.
you watch it? I couldn't watch it. I would probably have to turn away.
You know what? I'm so amazed
I
at what
don't
I'm going to
enjoy
tell
it.
you. We don't enjoy it, but this is really a true thing. As I told you on previous episodes, I was fighting breast cancer at the same time I was doing it, and sleep did not come very easily to me, unfortunately, when I wasn't feeling well. So many times we would be flicking through, and we would stop as soon as we'd see something, not necessarily about the Nazis, anything on World War II. But one night in particular, the archives had released footage that I had previously seen in black and white. And I was actually frozen in my tracks because this very same footage in black and white, I had always assumed that the people that were in the camps or that they were on these horrible marches were dirty from the work that they were doing as slave laborers. That wasn't dirt. That was actually blood. And when I saw that on the archives, I realized I had to harden myself to this and watch it to try to better understand really what happened there. And we don't necessarily enjoy watching it, but it is very riveting, and you have to really look at it as a study in human history.
It's true. The Nazis, you know, Hitler's regime started photographing back from 1933, archiving all that stuff and photographing in black and white. Well, he was a sick puppy, but the thing is that they shot so much footage through that to 1945, all footage, the Nazis, and then when the camps were discovered, 40,000 camps, it blew us away, the number, 40,000. All roads led to the big ones, train tracks, and we could go on and on about everything. But the photographing, Eisenhower said, I want this to be photographed because one day people will doubt this ever happened. And they, our United States, Britain, France, and Russia photographed everything. They spent something like, I believe about 6 million feet of black and white film, about 300, 400,000 feet of color film.
But that must have been after the fact.
After the fact, but
because they didn't see what you told me on other areas.
No, they have everything photographed, and they found the archives. There was the big building in Nuremberg that they did not bomb that housed everything.
And another horrible thing that people don't realize is that there were many things that even the Allies knew before, and decisions were made, for example, not to bomb the tracks
Why?
that led to Auschwitz.
Yeah,
well, we don't know. That was a decision made at the time by the Roosevelt administration, and we were not there at the time, but from what I understand, they felt that there were other strategic moves that were more important. I don't know how it could be any more important than saving human lives.
Well, just like today, you have, you know, oil for profit, profit for oil. Wars are created around oil, and that's been, you know, for the past 150 years.
That's why we
or
need
so.
solar energy badly.
Tell me. So you have that, and Standard Oil, the Rockefellers, fed Hitler. They gave him all his oil because they had a patent on that formula that Hitler's machinery could only run on. So they sold it to him. They made, back then, they made $2.8 billion profit on the oil that they sold to the Third Reich.
So we're going to sell you the oil, even though you're killing in.
They didn't care. They didn't care. They did not care. Now the other thing is that, which we found out too, is that a big computer company, not from today, back then, IBM, sold Hitler the data machines, the Nazis the data machines, the punch card systems, so they could keep accurate track on all the poor Jewish people. That's why they had the numbers. The numbers on their arms corresponded to the data cards that Hitler sold them. That's IBM sold them. It's just horrible situations back then. All for profit. They didn't care.
War is big money.
Yeah, it is. Let's get back to the movie a little bit. I mean, because these are horrible facts that you guys have to really swallow and then put back down.
That's just a tip
Is there
of the
going to be
iceberg.
Sure, I bet it's a tip.
footage? Is there going to be footage from that in the film?
one thing I want to explain is A Garden of Thorns is a very special movie because although we're dealing with all of these different subjects, you're not going to see the concentration camps. You're not going to see a battlefield.
You're not going to see it.
What you will see is how a person, Roger, and a community was very involved in fighting back. And there were just as many that were involved in fighting back as were collaborationists and sympathizers, because I guess some people didn't necessarily feel that the Allies would free France and win. So you had the collaborationists and you had the resistance, and they were constantly at odds. And that yin and yang is what made the war last so long.
You had, a lot of people don't know this, the French resistance was very romanticized. And we found out, like anyone could say, I'm in the French resistance. Where's your proof? We have proof from Roger. So that's all cemented in the movie, and we have the proof of that. And the medal is his proof, too. There are a lot of people that associate with that we found out, okay, they like to take the title of the French resistance. But a lot of people don't know that the Jewish kids, the Jewish kids, 17, 18, 20, they were most of the French resistance.
They were
poor little Jewish boys.
They were either going to stand and fight
or die,
or sit down and die. And that was it. So they weren't willing to lay down and die. Yeah. That was the point.
So that made your French resistance up. Amazing. So all this type of beautiful information we found out, that's what makes this picture incredible. It's a major documentary. And, you know, it's long to do. And hopefully, you know, once we finish this, I laid the groundwork for the feature film, which I can't wait to do.
We just got great news from the French government. They called us this week.
Yeah, they called us
to tell us that the mayor and senator of the city of Dijon,
the gentleman that gave Roger the medal,
Francois Repsman, was going to go back to the city of Dijon because he had taken some time away to become one of the different ministers of something. And he's going back to the city of Dijon, and he couldn't wait for us to come back and actually do the film.
He says anything we want, carte blanche.
That's wonderful.
So the goods and service.
Where is Dijon, actually?
Dijon is 300 miles east of Paris, southeast. Like if you look, here's Paris.
Yeah.
Here's Dijon. Here's Cannes. So it's like that. Here's Switzerland right here. So it's like from here to New York City, Switzerland would be. That's how close Switzerland is.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
If you love wine, it's where the best Cabernet Sauvignon comes from.
Well, I heard a rumor that you're taking us with you to Dijon. That's what I.
Why not for the feature?
We just have to fit in the suitcase.
Yeah, a small suitcase.
The wine country there is unbelievable. The wine yards just don't stop. It's like the size of 4 Long Islands.
Wow.
Wow.
And that alone will simply fit into Steiner Studios in Brooklyn because that's so big. I want to ask you so many things. There's so many different facets of this but let's get back onto the shooting of the documentary. What type of equipment do you plan on using for that? Anything special?
But we're having, you know, we like to use some jibs and dollies to make these shots more interesting. It's a lot of wood shots. We were just looking online because we have to come up with a lot of uniforms, the Nazi uniforms, and Nazis are going to chase the kids. We need kids that are going to play the French resistance, all in the woods on the 200 acres we're filming on up at Long Island. It looks just like France.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. So we're blocking out those shots now and scripting it. So when we're ready on set, we'll be ready, and we're with the kids and everything.
And you remember those? Go ahead.
I was going to ask how many children are in it.
Our cast, oh my God, at least around almost 30 people.
Really?
In the cast. Yeah.
30 children or 30?
There's about 20 plus children of different ages.
The rest are adults.
And there are some adults, of course. And it's an amazing thing because when you have 20 children to coordinate, it's very difficult.
Sure.
Dealing with 20 different mothers.
Oh boy.
You're dealing with the mothers, and you're dealing with that they're
could
all
be
on
worse than
different
the kids.
schedules and different schools.
Kids are sweethearts.
It's tough.
It's tough.
Yes.
The mothers are going nuts anyway, so you know.
You want to hear a funny story? I was involved in a photo shoot a long, long time ago, which was supposed to go to Playboy. And so we had gotten to a very nice restaurant that wasn't even fully built yet, but it was gorgeous. And the girl was there, but her mother was there. And so the hysterical part about it was across the Patchogue River were all these workers. And of course the girl, she's not wearing anything. And her mother's walking around with a blanket like this, trying to shield the daughter who was saying, "Ma, stop, I can't take it any longer." True story. I finally said, listen, about 500,000 people are going to see her photographs. Forget about the 4 or 5 over there that catcalling. It's going to be done.
That's hysterical.
But it was a long day, and it's actually very boring. But the interesting part is, I guess the parents they get so excited about it, and they live through the kids, that they want to be part of that, and they probably drive you nuts.
The ones that are professional, that the children are professionally acting, they handle it quite well.
Yeah, they do. They schedule that.
The ones that, you know, this is their first experience with this, they're the ones that are a little bit more difficult to
You know
deal
what?
with. Yeah.
As they told Lauren when we started with the kids, it's an exciting project and they want to be part of it.
Sure.
Yeah, because they saw the book, they saw us online. We walked in the other day. What restaurant was that? I can't think of the restaurant. We walked in to have that at the steakhouse.
That's right, a Major Steakhouse.
Major Steakhouse. We walked in the other day, and a few people started pointing to us. There they are, they're on the internet, the Garden of Thorns. They all came over.
That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
How many children did you try out for the parts?
You know, I have to tell you, this was an amazing thing. When I met this young man, Austin Levine, I mean, right away, I said, I'm going to ask you one question. I'm not going to make you read. I want to know why you want to be in the film.
Amazingly.
And his answer was so grown up and so right on. I said I knew that he was Roger for the film. So I decided that was how I was going to make the kids try out. So I asked them all questions, and it opened up a very interesting thing. And now part of the film is actually asking the kids questions about all these different issues, because that's how I cast them, based on the answers.
Yeah, Lauren asked them about scapegoat, bullying, you know, anti-Semitism, and the kids, the answers were unbelievable.
They knew, yeah.
Yeah, they knew.
I had a 7-year-old little girl that answered the question so intelligently, I was blown away.
Better than Roger.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. The kids are amazing. They are.
And tell me, uniforms, and funny, we were talking today, I mentioned the Scrooge thing. The sets I showed you called the Grange out east, with those buildings that are stone that could really... I met people, and one of these people who are particularly part of this world, so now it's going to even get easier to get permits if that's what you still want to shoot.
Yeah, we're going to have to do that.
It's pretty interesting how that all worked itself out. I told him about you and the Garden of Thorns. He's like, we are on the same page. Like,
that's
well,
great.
And what a coincidence that became.
It helps.
Yeah.
It's
sure
such a good project. Everyone wants to get involved in it, and it's just been a clear sale for us.
What about vehicles? Are you going to wind up using some sort of old vehicles, or is that part of what you did in Dijon already?
Everything's in Dijon. If I could get somebody with an old... But the thing is, we could use an Army Jeep, and I don't think there's any German vehicles here, unless some...
Well, there are old Willys Jeeps. There are clubs.
Yeah, they're
very small, a real Jeep. They're not. By the way, they're not even made by Willys. You know who really made them? Ford.
Ford, yeah.
Ford, because Willys, though they created this simple vehicle, they couldn't produce them fast enough. So they would actually say Willys, but it was really a Ford.
When I was in Dijon, one of the associate producer that gave us all the equipment in the vehicles, they have a museum. It looks like it just rolled off the assembly line.
Wow.
Unbelievable the way they have this. They keep it pristine and like ready for the Smithsonian.
Are you going to have any scenes which are like big scenes with townsfolk to them, where vehicles will be going through? And
in the feature, not for the documentary.
Not for the
It's tough to pull off in the doc.
Yeah. I understand.
And the feature, we pretty mapped it out. We have like, Dijon is just like any city. You know, the overall landscape, like if you look at Florence, hasn't changed, right? You see the Duomo and everything. But now you go down, you say, oh my God, every street has shops and Fendi and this and that. Same thing in Dijon. So certain areas at night work well, and during the day work well. And then we want this small town community of theme that, you know, Lauren wants to do. So we're going to film in like Fixon, Savin, Bone, all those nice little towns.
That's exciting.
That have not changed at all.
What's your shooting, once you're in there, like how many months do you think that'll take to shoot?
I think it'll take us about 6 weeks, 7
6
weeks to
weeks?
pre-produce it there, to tie everything up. And then the actual shooting may be about 27 days, 30 days like that. That's all.
It's pretty exciting, you know? And you got this whole town to come out and help you with this project. They fell in love with you. It's amazing.
Dijon's a great town. The food is fabulous.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God. They have food festivals, world-renowned food festivals.
Every
there.
September
Yeah.
they have a gastronomic festival, September, October, and people come from all over the world to learn how to cook and to taste the food and the wine, and it's really
It's great stuff.
Making me very hungry.
When we were in Dijon,
We need to go there.
I was going to say, we're going to the
you
diner
have
after
to.
this.
It's great. When I went to one restaurant. It only opened for lunch, and we sat down. Food was fabulous with the wine. 4 people. The bill was like $800.
No.
Oh
it's
my
worse than
goodness.
us
For
with
lunch.
Lanza.
But they take great pride in their,
That's amazing.
in their food.
Do you speak French? Do you guys speak French?
One word, oui, that's it.
Oh, even I know some French. Yeah, I learned from French years ago. Voulez-vous avec la chaise? Voulez-vous avec my... I can't say it anymore. Yeah, it's all over.
I know one.
What?
Fermez la bouche.
Which means shut my mouth.
Yeah.
You know, the wives of narcissists.
Everyone speaks English.
They do?
Yeah, a lot of people speak. And when we do the feature, if we use these kids or whatever, I want them to, like, the one kid puts on a perfect English accent. And he came to me the other day and says, Jim, he says, I could also do a French accent. I'll study it. They're very intelligent little kids, unbelievable.
That's nice.
Have they been professionally acting? Do they take professional acting
Oh my
classes?
God, yeah.
You know, everybody has their opinion about this. I think just like with salesmanship, if you can sell, you're like a born salesman, and of course then you can learn how to do it better.
Sure.
With acting, I think it's an innate thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then you can tweak it, but I don't think you can learn how to act. I think you can learn how to act better.
Right.
But people that can't act, let's face it, they can't.
Yeah, I had...
That's very true.
It
I have
is.
to agree with you. I really do.
Because I had some doozies in my ears where people could not take direction. I couldn't believe it. I thought, that, should I say it in Chinese? Maybe you'll understand it better. They forget it.
Well, why not? You're talking in French to start with. We'll go to Chinese. And speaking of French and Chinese and all of these other languages, again, we've come to the end of the line here on the Filmmaker
Oh, that's
Show for
quick.
tonight. Yeah, again, right?
If people wanted to get in touch with you,
Yeah, that's a good point. How do you...
how would they do
Our main
that?
company, our main company is identityfeatures.com.
Simple.
Simple.
Identityfeatures.com. And they'll find director James Arcori, producer Lauren Levine. Next to me, I find Mrs. Michelle Parisi.
Yeah, we're all over the web.
We're all over. You got to be. And speaking of people who are all over things, the people who are all over the studio that make it run are the people I always want to say thank you to. So to Victoria Mealy, head of Wives of Narcissists. Thank you, Vicky, for everything. Tom Mealy, Janine Zarilli, and the iconic Tommy Marr. Thanks, guys, for Madhouse TV. Without you, we wouldn't have a show. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Good night.